The unseen war. Why the world fears Sagittarius's light. There's a reason why even darkness itself doesn't dare to whisper your name out loud. If you're a Sagittarius, you were never born just to survive. You were born to silence the very forces that want the world to stay asleep. In the celestial dance of the Zodiac, there is one fire that cannot be dimmed, no matter how thick the shadow grows, no matter how long the night stretches. That fire is Sagittarius. Most people only see the surface, the wild laugh, the restless journey, the endless questions. But they don't see what we, those who've studied this sign deeply, have seen for years. We know the truth. Sagittarius is not a wanderer. He is a seeker, a warrior, a light bearer, and when that light is threatened, the darkness trembles. Not because Sagittarius is loud, but because he's unshakably clear. Not because he is perfect, but because he is impossible to predict and impossible to manipulate. That terrifies the shadows. In ancient scrolls and stories buried beneath centuries of silence, Sagittarius has always shown up in one form or another as the archer, the prophet, the rebel, the redeemer. Whether named Prometheus, Joan of Arc, Bruce Lee, or simply the one who never gave up this soul, comes to Earth not just to burn brightly, but to ignite the world around them. And in times like now, in 2025, when the world is shifting, uncertain, and stretched between illusion and awakening, the Sagittarius flame becomes more necessary than ever. So if you're Sagittarius, or if you carry even a spark of this energy within you, this is your call. This video will reveal 22 sacred reasons why even the darkest forces cannot contain, control, or conquer you. But more importantly, it will remind you why the world needs your fire now. Stay with me until the end, because something in this will speak directly to your soul. And if it does, don't just listen. Respond. In the comments write, "I carry the sacred fire." Let the world know you're no longer hiding. Because once a Sagittarius accepts their fire, nothing can stop the light that follows. Sacred reason 1. The fire that never rests. Some people burn out. Some people fade. But a true Sagittarius, they ignite. There is something ancient in the way a Sagittarius moves, like a soul chasing a prophecy written long before they were born. This fire isn't random. It's not adrenaline. It's a sacred unrest that never fully quiets. From the outside, they look like they can't sit still. But inside, there's a rhythm, a calling. And once it speaks, they go. What others call too much is actually divine fuel. When Sagittarius moves, it's not to escape, it's to awaken. That's what makes the darkness fear them. Because no matter how many walls rise in their path, they don't stop. They move. And movement is momentum. And momentum, it changes everything. This relentless flame breaks down systems built to contain it. You cannot box the wind. You cannot cage the fire. That's why they tell you to slow down. Because your energy, when unleashed, cannot be controlled. But here's the truth. You were never meant to be easy to follow. You were meant to lead. Have you ever been called too intense or too fast? Comment, "I am the fire that never rests." Life lesson. Your energy is not a flaw. It's a frequency. Tune into it. Honor it. The world wasn't meant to keep up. It was meant to be transformed by your fire. Sacred reason. 2. Unshakable optimism. Darkness thrives in despair. But Sagittarius doesn't stay in despair long enough to be captured by it. There is something revolutionary about a Sagittarius's ability to believe in better even when everything around them looks broken. Not because they're blind, but because their soul remembers what others forgot, that light always returns. People misunderstand this optimism. They call it naive. They mock it as delusion. but they don't understand the weight it carries. To look into the chaos of this world, to feel every crack in the system, and still choose to hope. That is not weakness. That is spiritual rebellion. This kind of faith is what keeps dreams alive when everyone else stops believing. It's what keeps people going when they want to give up. And it's why the dark forces fear Sagittarius most when things are at their worst. Because when fear has done its damage, and doubt has done its job, Sagittarius still believes. And belief is the seed of all miracles. Has your hope ever made others uncomfortable? Comment. My hope is my rebellion. Life lesson. Optimism is not ignorance. It's resilience. It's a weapon the darkness cannot decode because it wasn't built to understand joy. Sacred reason 3. Faith in the self. You can't control someone who knows who they are. And that's exactly why the darkness can't trap a true Sagittarius. There is a quiet, blazing confidence within this sign, one that isn't built on praise or validation or status. It's built on knowing. Sagittarius may not always explain themselves, but they walk with a clarity that cannot be faked. It's in the way they say no, in the way they leave, in the way they chase what others are too afraid to want. This faith in the self isn't arrogance, it's alignment. It comes from listening to something deeper than logic, the compass of the soul. And when this compass is followed, Sagittarius becomes unstoppable. Because they are no longer looking for permission. They are no longer trying to prove themselves. They are simply walking their path. And the world adjusts around them. Darkness tries to make them question. But their fire doesn't argue. It acts. Have you ever made a bold move because you just knew it was right? Comment. I trust the compass within me. Life lesson. When you stop explaining your fire to people who fear heat, your real path begins. Faith in yourself is the first light in every dark room. Sacred reason 4. The pathfinder in the labyrinth. While others beg for a map, Sagittarius looks for the stars. This is the soul that doesn't need a straight path to find their way. They just need a feeling, a truth, a pulse in the chest that says, go this way. The world is a maze of distractions, fear-based rules, and invisible cages. But Sagittarius sees beyond it. They don't wait for doors to open. They question why there are walls in the first place. They are the ones who step into uncertainty with nothing but vision. And somehow they make it through. Even in the darkest labyrinths, Sagittarius finds the thread. Not just for themselves, but for others too. That's what makes them dangerous to darkness. They don't just escape, they lead people out. And that is the kind of soul darkness can't predict and can never contain. Have you ever found your own way when no one else believed you could? Comment. I follow the thread no one else can see. Life lesson. You were never lost. You were just learning to listen to the map within you. A map written in stars, not signs. Sacred reason 5. The chaos that disarms control. Darkness thrives on order. It needs people to behave, conform, stay small, stay predictable. But Sagittarius was born to break patterns. They are not here to maintain structure. They are here to evolve it, to shake it, to burn it down when necessary. That's why Sagittarius feels so dangerous to those obsessed with control. Because they do the one thing that fear cannot stand. They change the rules. They rewrite the story. They speak out of turn, and in doing so, set others free. Sagittarius isn't chaotic out of rebellion. Their chaos is sacred. It's the force that moves energy forward when it's been stuck for too long. It's the storm that clears dead wood from the forest. It's the lightning bolt that splits illusion in two. To some, this unpredictability is threatening. To others, it's salvation. Sagittarius isn't meant to sit still in silence. They're meant to challenge stagnation, because when they move, the world moves. And in a world addicted to certainty, Sagittarius is the question mark that breaks the spell. Have you ever felt like your presence shakes things up just by existing? Comment, I am the storm that clears the way. Life lesson. You weren't born to be understood by systems designed to suppress spirit. Your unpredictability is not a flaw, it's the spark that awakens the world. Sacred reason. 6. Relentless will. Sagittarius doesn't just want something, they will it into being. When the universe says, wait, Sagittarius says, watch me. There is a stubborn fire in their spirit that doesn't take no for an answer. Not from the world, not from others, not even from fate. This will is what pushes them past exhaustion, past rejection, past the voice that says this has never been done before. Because the archer doesn't aim based on what's realistic. They aim based on what's right. And once that vision is locked in, they do not miss. This relentlessness is why dark forces try to distract them, to make them doubt, to wear them down. But it rarely works. Because when a Sagittarius is aligned, no amount of resistance matters. They won't stop until the arrow lands. Have you ever refused to give up on something, even when no one believed in it? Comment. My will does not break. Life lesson. Dreams don't survive because they're easy. They survive because someone refused to let them die. That someone is you. Sacred reason. 7. Vision beyond the fog. When others are paralyzed by doubt, Sagittarius already sees the destination. They don't wait for the fog to clear. They move through it guided by a light that doesn't come from the outside, it comes from within. Sagittarius doesn't need all the answers to take action. They need a glimpse, a spark, a gut pull toward truth. And once they feel it, they follow it. That's what gives them power. In a world full of hesitation, they're already in motion. Darkness tries to confuse, to cloud judgment, to paralyze with fear. But Sagittarius sees with inner sight, and that kind of vision can't be blocked. They see what's possible before it's visible, and that makes them dangerous to any force that feeds on delay. Have you ever felt like you could see something others couldn't? Comment. I walk with vision, not permission. Life lesson. Real sight isn't about your eyes. It's about your spirit, and yours has always known the way. Sacred reason. 8. Divine disruption. Some forces arrive to soothe. Sagittarius arrives to shake. They are not here to make others comfortable. They are here to wake people up. And that's why wherever they go, they stir things. Conversations, relationships, systems, energy. It's not because they're trying to be difficult. It's because they carry truth. And truth, real, burning, raw truth, doesn't sit quietly in the corner. Sagittarius disrupts illusions. They ask questions no one dares to ask. They speak what others are afraid to feel. And they move energy that's been stuck for generations. To the asleep that feels threatening. To the aware it feels like liberation. Darkness doesn't know what to do with someone who doesn't fear the consequences of truth. That's what makes Sagittarius unstoppable. Have you ever been the one to say what no one else would? Comment, I was born to disrupt what holds people down. Life lesson. You're not messy, you're a message. When you walk in, truth, disruption is not destruction. It's sacred clearing. Sacred reason. 9. Precision in the storm. While the world spins in panic, Sagittarius takes aim. Their chaos is not confusion, it's strategy. Their movement isn't random, it's calculated fire. They may seem impulsive to outsiders, but inside they're watching, waiting, reading the energy. And when the moment strikes, they strike back with perfect clarity. This precision in the storm makes them frightening to systems that depend on control. Because you cannot control what moves with purpose. You can only try to slow it. But Sagittarius doesn't slow. They focus. They know when to speak, when to leave, when to launch, and when to let silence do the talking. In a world of noise, Sagittarius is the arrow that hits the truth dead center. Have you ever taken a bold shot at the exact right moment? Comment, I am the arrow in the storm. Life lesson. You're not impulsive, you're intuitive. Trust the timing that lives in your bones. It has never led you wrong. Sacred Reason 10. Movement as medicine. Sagittarius doesn't stay where things die. They move, not out of fear, but out of faith in life itself. When energy stagnates, when love becomes duty, when truth becomes silence, they feel it in their bones, and their soul refuses to rot in place. Movement is how they heal. Forward is how they breathe. This is not recklessness, it's resurrection. Their leaving often shocks people. Their need for expansion is misunderstood. But what most don't realize is if Sagittarius stays too long where their spirit shrinks, they begin to lose their light. That's why they run not from people but toward wholeness. Darkness wants you stuck. Sagittarius wants to move you toward freedom. And that's why they keep going even when no one understands why. Have you ever had to leave something in order to stay alive inside? Comment, I move because my soul demands freedom. Life lesson. Your movement is your medicine. Never apologize for needing room to breathe. You're not leaving behind, you're expanding beyond. Sacred Reason 11. Magnetic inspiration. Some people influence with words. Sagittarius influences with energy. They don't need to try, they simply are, and others feel it. There's something in the way they move, speak, laugh, create. Something that pulls people toward possibility. It's not charisma born from performance. It's magnetism born from alignment. When Sagittarius lives in truth, they awaken others not by pushing them, but by making them remember that they too carry a fire inside. It's the way you feel more alive after talking to them. The way a simple sentence from them lingers for weeks. The way their presence seems to burn away doubt. Darkness hates this. Because one Sagittarius can ignite 100 hearts, and 100 hearts on fire. That's how revolutions begin. Have you ever inspired someone just by being yourself? Comment. My light wakes up the room. Life lesson. Inspiration isn't something you force. It's what happens when your soul is fully awake and dares to shine without apology. Sacred Reason 12. Torchbearer for the lost. In a world full of confusion, Sagittarius becomes a compass. They're not just searching for truth, they're showing others where to find it. It often happens without them realizing. Someone in pain hears a word. Someone stuck watches them walk away from something toxic. Someone afraid sees them speak what no one else dared. And suddenly, that person starts to remember who they are too. Sagittarius is a walking reminder that freedom is possible, that joy is real, that alignment isn't a myth. When others forget their power, Sagittarius holds up a torch and says, "This way. This is the way back to yourself." That's why the darkness fears them, because they don't just escape. They open escape routes. Have you ever helped someone find their way back to themselves? Comment. I carry light for the ones who forgot. Life lesson. Your path is more than your healing. It's someone else's map. Walk it with truth. Someone needs your flame to find their own. Sacred Reason 13. The fire that speaks truth. Sagittarius doesn't just talk, they reveal. They say what others won't. They name what others avoid. They speak truths so direct, they break silence like thunder through glass. Sometimes it hurts, sometimes it frees, but it always burns away illusion. This truth-telling isn't cruelty, it's clarity. And clarity is often the first step toward liberation. Sagittarius sees the lies people live in. They can sense when someone is betraying their own soul. And without malice, without manipulation, they speak the truth anyway, not to wound, but to wake. Darkness survives in distortion. Sagittarius destroys distortion with words that cannot be misheard. Have you ever told the truth, even when it cost you something? Comment. Truth burns, but it also heals. Life lesson. Silence can be poison. You were born to speak what breaks spells. Your voice is part of the fire. Never let it go quiet. Sacred Reason 14. Soul-lifting laughter. Some fires burn, others warm. Sagittarius knows how to do both, and one of their most disarming weapons is laughter. Not the shallow kind, the kind that reminds people they're still alive. Even in the worst moments, Sagittarius can make someone smile. Not because they're avoiding reality, but because they remember the soul needs joy to breathe, too. They know humor is medicine. That lightness isn't weakness, it's resilience. And when someone is drowning in heaviness, a Sagittarius laugh feels like air. Darkness wants everyone to take everything seriously. To believe healing must be solemn. But Sagittarius flips that illusion on its head. With one joke, one wink, one burst of silliness, they remind us we're allowed to feel light, even now. Has your joy ever helped someone in pain? Comment. My laughter carries light. Life lesson. Joy is a sacred tool. It doesn't deny the pain, it proves we're still stronger than it. Protect your laughter. It saves lives. Sacred Reason 15. Lighting the fuse of change. Wherever Sagittarius goes, things shift. It's not always gentle. It's not always easy. But it's always necessary. They spark ideas that can't be forgotten. Conversations that echo long after they leave the room. They push people to look in the mirror, to question, to want more. This is the fire that creates movement. Not just physical, but emotional, spiritual, cultural. Sagittarius rarely stays in one place. Not just because of restlessness, but because their soul is wired to spark evolution. They can't tolerate stagnation. They were born to break plateaus, and sometimes the only way to move a mountain is to light the fuse beneath it. That's what Sagittarius does. Not out of destruction, but out of deep sacred urgency for truth. Have you ever said or done something that caused a ripple you didn't expect? Comment. I was born to spark change. Life lesson. Don't fear the fire you ignite. Some things must be unsettled before they can be set free. Sacred Reason 16. The strength to walk alone. Not every fire needs a crowd. Some burn brighter in solitude. Sagittarius knows how to walk alone, not because they want to, but because their path often demands it. Truth is a lonely road. And when you choose to live by it, you will be misunderstood. You will lose people. You will face silence where there used to be applause. But Sagittarius keeps walking, not because they're fearless, but because their fire is stronger than their fear. They know that solitude isn't punishment, it's preparation. In the quiet, they hear their soul more clearly. In the absence of noise, they remember why they started. This is why darkness fears them most when they are alone, because that's when Sagittarius becomes truly indestructible. Have you ever had to keep going even when no one was beside you? Comment. I walked alone, but never without purpose. Life lesson. Solitude reveals your real strength. When no one is watching and you still rise, that's when you meet your true self. Sacred Reason 17. Rising after betrayal. There's a betrayal that cuts deeper than most. When someone you trusted tries to put out your light. Sagittarius knows this wound well, because when your light shines brightly, it triggers the shadows in others. And sometimes, the very ones who once loved you become the first to turn away. But Sagittarius doesn't stay broken. Yes, they bleed. Yes, they question. But then they rise. And when they do, they don't just return. They return wiser, clearer, sharper. This rebirth is not revenge. It's reclamation. They don't need to hurt anyone to heal. They simply outgrow the wound. They become too powerful for it to contain. Darkness hoped betrayal would destroy them. But instead, it became the forge that made them stronger. Have you ever had to rebuild yourself after someone tried to break you? Comment. My fire returned stronger. Life lesson: betrayal doesn't define you. Your resurrection does. You are not the scar, you are the survivor who grew past it. Sacred reason 18. The courage to keep loving. After betrayal, after loss, after being misunderstood, Sagittarius still loves. Not blindly, not foolishly, but bravely. Because true courage isn't found in fighting battles, it's found in keeping your heart open after it's been broken. Sagittarius chooses love not because it's safe, but because it's sacred. They believe in people even after being let down. They give second chances even after being shut out. Not because they forget, but because they refuse to become what hurt them. Darkness can't comprehend this. It thrives on bitterness. But Sagittarius alchemizes pain into power, and the most powerful thing they do, they love anyway. Have you ever chosen love again after being wounded? Comment. My heart still chooses light. Life lesson. The ability to love after pain isn't weakness. It's the highest form of spiritual strength. Your heart is not naive. It is radiant. Sacred reason 19. Fearless in the face of the abyss. Sagittarius doesn't just face darkness, they walk into it willingly. Not out of recklessness, but because they know something most don't. The only way out is through. Where others turn back, Sagittarius moves forward. Where others flinch, they hold steady. They know the abyss is not the end. It's the beginning of transformation. And so they confront it, the grief, the confusion, the fear. They don't numb it. They name it. And in naming it, they reclaim their power. Darkness has no grip on those who no longer fear it. And that's why Sagittarius is unstoppable when they walk through fire. Because they don't come out burned, they come out born again. Have you ever faced something most would run from? Comment. I looked into the abyss and found my strength. Life lesson. Courage isn't avoiding fear. It's facing it so completely that it loses its power over you. Sacred reason 20. Saying yes to the storm. Most people pray for calm. Sagittarius calls the storm a teacher. They know that still waters rarely move the soul. But chaos, it awakens something ancient. When a storm hits, Sagittarius doesn't shrink, they rise. They say yes to the lessons, yes to the change, yes to the becoming, because deep down they remember that even hurricanes serve the earth. Even destruction clears space for new beginnings. That's why Sagittarius isn't afraid to lose comfort. They're not afraid of disruption. They're here for truth. And if truth arrives wrapped in thunder, they welcome it. This is what makes them evolutionaries. Not for the sake of rebellion, but for the sacred renewal that follows. Have you ever said yes to a challenge others avoided? Comment. I say yes to the storm that shapes me. Life lesson. Growth often arrives disguised as chaos. Sagittarius doesn't resist it. They ride it and become more of who they are. Sacred reason 21. Leading the battle for light. When darkness spreads, some people wait for rescue. Sagittarius becomes the rescuer, not because they have to, because they choose to. Their fire doesn't just protect themselves, it lights torches for others. It builds bridges. It inspires movements. They are the ones who speak when silence is killing truth, who rise when others fall back, who stand when everyone else sits in fear. This leadership isn't about control, it's about courage. Sagittarius doesn't say, "Follow me." They say, "I'm going anyway. Come if your soul is ready." And that's why people follow. Because there is something magnetic about someone who doesn't need validation to lead. They are not perfect. They are powerful in spirit, in purpose, in fire. And when the world needs a reminder that the light is worth fighting for, Sagittarius stands at the front. Bow drawn, eyes, fierce soul, unshakable. Have you ever stepped up when no one else would? Comment, I lead not with fear, but with fire. Life lesson. True leadership is not about being followed. It's about becoming someone who carries the light no matter who's watching. Sacred Reason 22. Unbreakable faith in the mission. The final reason darkness cannot touch Sagittarius. They remember, even when the world forgets. Even when others fall asleep. Even when their own life gets heavy, they come back to one truth. I was born for something greater. This sense of mission isn't always clear. Sometimes it's just a whisper, a pull in the chest, a fire that won't go out. But it guides them, anchors them, strengthens them when everything else fades. This mission is not about fame or recognition, it's about awakening. Awakening others. Awakening the world. Awakening their own deepest potential over and over again. And when you carry this kind of faith, darkness can't destroy you. Because you no longer fear failure. You no longer need permission. You are loyal to something eternal. Do you feel like you were born for more, even if you can't name it yet? Comment. I remember who I am. Life lesson. Your mission isn't a goal, it's a vow. You don't chase it, you live it. And every step you take in truth keeps the flame alive. Final revelation. Why the world needs Sagittarius. Now, the world is changing. You can feel it, can't you? The air is heavier. The noise is louder. The distractions are everywhere. And in the middle of it all, your fire still burns. You didn't choose to be Sagittarius by accident. You came here in this life, in this time, for a reason far bigger than comfort, routine, or applause. You came here to wake people up, to ignite what has gone numb, to speak when others stay silent, to lead when others bow, to remind this world one soul at a time that light is stronger than shadow. You are not just a sign in the Zodiac. You are a sacred archetype, a cosmic assignment, a living flame walking among sleeping stars. And now is the moment to remember. If this message found you, it's not a coincidence. It's a calling. It means your fire is ready to rise again, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you who has forgotten what light feels like. So what now? You choose. You either return to the silence, or you rise into the mission. If you feel it in your heart, in your bones, in your spirit, then write it in the comments below. I am the flame. I remember my mission. Let the world know you're awake. Let your fire call out to others like you. And together we rise. If this message spoke to your soul, then this isn't the end, it's just the beginning. Make sure you subscribe to the Sagittarius Flame right now. Because this channel isn't just content, it's a sanctuary. A place where Sagittarius souls remember who they are, why they were born, and what they're truly here to do. This is where your fire stays lit, where your journey is honored, where your voice will never be silenced again. Join the movement. Subscribe, comment, share this with another Sagittarius soul, because the fire is rising, and you are the spark.